Well, it's been a while since I've done any kind of walkabout in the backyard. And while there is obviously not a lot of veggie growth or things planted, it's holding its own. And I'm still really pleased with the design, the mosaic of the brick rug. Mostly, I am pleased with the fact that my vision of it being a family gathering place and a gathering place for my friends has definitely come to pass. We have spent so much time sitting around the fire pit, but we've got windy days ahead. It is supposed to perhaps rain, I'm hoping, in the next couple of days. And so I'm putting up most of the things back here. All of the cushions are put up, the blankets are put up. I'll be getting ready to put the cover back on the solo fire pit to protect it, and then it just is up to Mother Nature to provide us with some rain, so a lot of this stuff gets off to a really good start. And I am beginning to see more of my vision. In fact, a number of my friends and my daughter-in-law from Singapore, who has just been following the progress like you guys on YouTube, said that she can now see kind of the vision too. So here are some things that I have identified that I still need to execute. So hopefully these little Miss Figgies I will grow and I can begin to espalier them against the wall. But nevertheless, I need probably some kind of structure for them to grow on, not so much because they need it, but because in the absence of the tree form itself, these walls just look really, really bare. And so I'll be thinking about this winter. Kayla has already built the last of the raised beds, which will go underneath this window. Right now, all of these pots, or most of them anyway, are just filled with bulbs. And still, the things that are in these raised beds, they're just in a state of stasis. They're not really doing much, but they're not dying. So the greens in the first bed to the east, the lettuce is still there. It's just not putting on much growth. It may or may not overwinter, depending on just how low our temperatures get. Certainly, I feel confident that the Swiss chard will remain. The carrots seem to be doing just fine. Again, they're just in a place of stasis. They're not really growing and they're not dying. It's just too cold and they need some warmth and some sunshine. And of course, we're getting ready to go into the shortest day of the year on the solstice tomorrow. So once the days begin to lengthen, that will be nice. And the sweet peas are there, and I just don't have the heart to pull them out because, or I should say snap peas, because they're still green, and we'll just see what kind of winter we have. So in terms of kind of design, that's what's going on there. I'm not 100% sure I really like that Silverado sage there. That might get moved. I thought I would like it, but it turns out that it's kind of an impediment to getting to the planter boxes in the back, and I might relocate it. I'm not going to do that now, but that's a change that I might make. For all of you who are so concerned about the railing, I have put in an inquiry to when it will be finished. I'm hoping it gets finished before we get any ice or snow, so we'll see on that. This area still needs lots of work. I need to put down more mulch and gravel. We're waiting for the finials for the surround to the air conditioner. We are also thinking about what we need to do to hide these utility boxes. And I need to shut that breaker box. Looks like it wasn't completely hinged because we tripped a breaker. One thing I have noticed about the electrical in the cottage is actually like my other house too, these old houses, the electrical is always an issue. And sometimes the fuses get tripped. So this area, I'm anxious to do some putzing and futzing to, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'm not really spending any time out here. And that will be a fun thing to do on a pretty day in January and February when I'm anticipating spring. One thing I have definitely done is to go ahead and install some larger specimens of the better boxwood, and I am going to do a video in the future where I give you basically an updated profile. Well, excuse me, somebody is really getting their manliness on with that motorcycle. I apologize for that. So I've got better boxwood that I have planted. I wanted to get them in the ground. This variety is Skylight, and it has a very specific, taller, more vertical profile. But what I was about to say was that I'm going to give you kind of a walk through the different types of better boxwood there are with their different growth profile and their application in the garden, and of course why they're superior to other boxwood, because Lord willing they will be available next spring. I just needed some things to cover more of the blank real estate here in this area. Now, as so many of you pointed out, why didn't I put 2 lanterns on either side of the door that steps down into the garage? And it's because I wanted a vertical element over here, and I painted this tutor that I had. It was just kind of a rusty brown, and I painted it a matte black to match the other things in the garden and the railings to be, and it provides a nice vertical element. And then at the base, once everything is in place, I'll probably just plant more ajuga, which is my ground cover of choice for in this area, maybe some hellebores or something. And then over here, these are not still tagged, but I planted 1, 2, 3, 4 more boxwood in my little mounded villages over here, and these are Renaissance, and these will grow more mounding and low. Again, I'll be pointing out all of the particulars in another video. And I filled that pot, it's off of its stand for right now, but I filled this pot with a Dragon Prince Cryptomeria. So ultimately, these things will fill out, they will grow together. Hopefully you can see my vision. And then, let me see if I can do some Stuart Perriman camera work. Okay, I'll go up the stairs. So as if you were with me and you were a guest, we would come down, and then in the future, you would be walking on these stepping stones, and the little villages would be surrounding you, and clumps of the ajuga, which is doing brilliantly, by the way. So we took the tree down. We even rested it on its side because, as I said, it's been very, very windy, and we didn't want any kind of catastrophe. So it's just down for right now. And that's okay. We knew that might be an issue. We're still waiting for finials on that back gate. And the other thing that I noticed, Kayla and I noticed, is what we're going to have to be doing some paint touch-up of the cottage gray. I cannot wait. Recently, this has been on my mind. I cannot wait for these plant stands. And these are QVC, by the way, 4 of the plant stands that go together, or maybe 3 of them, that go together to make this surround. And I cannot wait till that is filled with geraniums next year. And obviously the other plant terraces will be filled with some other things. I've got 3 more boxwood over here that are actually going to go into pots, and I have yet to acquire the pots, and these will run up and down the steps. These are Lucky Charm. They are a Southern Living plant. And then I've also installed some better boxwood in other areas. And you can see that some of the things that I've already put in place has some new growth on it, but I really don't want new growth right now. I'm leaving up the wreaths and some of the other outside decor, but a lot of this was for the home tour. And it will be coming down in short order as Santa is just going to be arriving in 5 days. So you'll notice that the wood top is not here any longer. The glass is revealed because that wooden top form fits over the surface. So I have both. So for those of you that like the glass better, the glass remains. For those of you that liked the wooden top, the wood top remains. Kayla actually took it back to her shop to weatherproof the bottom and to drill the umbrella hole in it. I decided I did want one. I didn't have to have one. I could have easily just put the umbrella to the side, but I asked Hub's opinion, and he thought we might want it. So she is doing a little bit of work on it. And then if I come around this way, it has been so busy this week that I guess maybe it's a good thing that the wind is coming this week, because we won't have had time to sit outside in front of the fire in any case. The railing on this side, I can't wait for it. And then once those railings are in place, like at my other house, there will be evergreens that run up and down these magnificent steps. But that's something that probably, it may not happen until in the spring, and that's okay. I like having some things to look forward to. As I live in this space, I'm adding more stones as I navigate the terrain and realize where placement is needed. Then I will add more stones. It's all about living in a place and figuring out what you need to make that place suit your needs. Over here, I've got a couple more better boxwood. This is Babylon Beauty. It has a distinct growth habit. And by next spring, I'll be showing you the smaller specimens that I planted in the front and how they have developed. I took down the boxwood wreaths that were on the sconces in the kitchen because they were really getting dry. And I just like I say, I give myself permission to take things down even prior to the holidays if I have enjoyed them and they're beginning to fade. I really need to up my inventory of myrtle topiary because I lost so many in the move. And I will be doing that as a treat to myself, maybe around Valentine's Day. Right now, I really don't need anything more inside to take care of. And I am trying to declutter and simplify things. And yes, I love having my kids here. But as we all know, the more people you have in your house, the more stuff there is lying around. And after a while, the stuff begins to really prey on your nerves. Now, this is the primary vantage point that I took into consideration when I planted the last of the tulip bulbs. Only about 100, but they are in little clumps that circumscribe the patio, and there'll be nice jolts of color. And then I did sprinkle a few seeds in here, some golden feverfew, not a lot. I really want the mounds to take front and center interest here in the back. But it will be fun to have those punches of color. And then certainly I hope by that time I'll have spring veggies growing up in here. And the steps will be complete with their pots. And the back area, the back potting shed area will also be complete. And then there'll be just little fun things to do. The placement of the firewood has been exactly what we had hoped for. It is just right outside the door, and we don't have to go far to get it. And then next year, I suspect we will make full use of the table here underneath the casement windows. I am looking forward to that. So right now it just needs a lot of softening along its kind of rough and barren edges. It looks very skeletal right now, but with good and promising bones. And I already can kind of envision the overlay of spring that will erupt before we know it. Because as of right now, we are just 5 days away from Christmas. Here's my question of the day. What will you be doing for the holidays? Are you going to be staying in town? Are you going to be working out in your garden? Are you going to be in a cold climate or a tropical one? I'm curious to know your plans. Thanks for joining me on this little Wednesday walkabout. We'll be back in the garden before you know it.